So I wanted to make this video to go through the differences between the ThermalMaster P2 and the P2 Pro, because initially when I purchased the P2, I was tossing up between both of these. Now I don't have to decide because ThermalMaster actually sent me a sample of their P2 Pro to review in a separate video. But yeah, I think the big question for a lot of you would be whether the extra spend is worth it or not. And both come with the same 256 by 192 resolution camera, 25 hertz frame rate, 40 millikelvin rating. Software is pretty much the same as well, but there are three really important differences that I want to talk about. So the first difference is that the P2 Pro comes with a macro lens. So take the lens cap off. This increases the price significantly from the P2. So yeah, if you need to figure out, basically you need to figure out whether you want or need this feature or not. So if you work on electronics, biological samples, fabrics, and you need to get really close to something to just see what you're looking at, this is going to be essential. But if not, it might just be a novelty and not really get used. The second difference is that the P2 Pro is smaller, as you can see, but it is less portable because it doesn't come with a case like the P2. And you need to be very careful with both, because even a short drop could break the lenses, then it's game over. You know, the lenses of these thermal cameras are very expensive to manufacture, and ThermalMaster don't seem to provide replacement lenses. The third difference is that in my tests, I noticed the P2 Pro may produce slightly sharper images from the mid to long range point. And it's really strange because both have that same 40 millikelvin rating. However, you know, the lens design is different. Speaking of which, I prefer the lens design of the P2 Pro because it's completely covered, whereas the P2 Pro has a small, if we can get the camera to kind of reflect off it a bit. There we go. So you can see it's like a bit of a cutout there. Okay, which means cleaning that lens is going to be a little bit more difficult. So yeah, basically in summary, if you want or need to use a thermal camera up close to electronic components, etc., get the P2 Pro. If not, the P2 is an excellent performer and it's the best value of both. So yeah, but you know, that being said, if you can splurge, get the P2 Pro because it's smaller, the lens design is easier to maintain, and yeah, do keep in mind though it doesn't come with the case, so you need to find something to store it in. I used this other case for my that came with my X3. I also made some demo videos to show you how this thing performs indoors and outdoors. Let's cut straight to that. So on the left here, I've got the P2, and on the right, the P2 Pro. And really, there's not much of a difference. I mean, I can't see much of a difference at all, really. Maybe just look at the distant buildings, but they're pretty much the same. Sort of see like the wheels of the cars as well, which are a little bit hotter. People walking across. I don't know. Maybe it's just the phone, but I do find that the image quality looks a bit better on my Galaxy S23 Ultra compared to. Got a Samsung A3 or A8, I can't remember which one it is, but yeah. I'm just screen recording because I know last time I didn't screen record and the frame rate was way too low. It should be like way faster, so pretty much how it looks like here. And let's go for a little walk in the park. Now, last time I was here, oh, look, we've got a possum. Didn't even have to really go looking. Now, this will be interesting just to see if there's any difference. Really, in the focus actually looks probably a bit better on the P2 Pro.
little bit. I can see more detail in the trees. Alright, so for a bit of a walk, and it's kind of good that it's rained a bit actually, because hopefully it just means that everything it's cooled everything down a bit so we can see more contrasts. It's not funny, I can use two of these, to one looking to the right and one looking to the left, so I've got a larger field of view. I hear birds, I don't see any. And it's kind of cool that you can use this to navigate around as well, because it's pretty dark here. Here's something. Could be a mouse, or looks small. What's that? Okay. There's little dots in the background of people walking down the road. You just make them out. Yeah, for some reason I was looking at a bunch of these, the reviews of both of these, and the footage that came out, and I sort of decided back then that the P2 looked better, but really there's more sort of similarities than not. If anything, the P2 Pro might preserve a touch of extra detail. But it's just barely perceptible, really. And yeah, it just seems like, I mean, tell me if I'm nuts, but it just seems like it's picking up maybe on a little bit more. I mean, it's creating more contrast. The grass here seems to be a bit darker in the P2 Pro. And in the background, so maybe it just has it's able to just differentiate temperatures a little better. It could be due to the focus as well. That's the mouse that I was looking for earlier up in the tree. And go for a bit of a walk. Just look up at the trees and see there's a bit of a difference, but not quite. And I mean, at this distance you can clearly make out people and animals, even though I'm really just walking around in the dark. from a distance, like all the trees kind of just blend in. Look like there's one color. You can spot people, someone behind the tree, like all the way in the center there. Oh look, got some birds. There's a little spotting device, short to medium range, and it's able to detect way further than that even. You can see people walking around all the way in the... There's a car back there. There's two people here. So you can make out and sort of scout ahead, detect general shapes, globes of heat. I see what I mean. It's some just seems to have a little bit more contrast in the P2 Pro. I wonder if I can just modify the contrast on my... I'm just trying to modify the contrast knob on the P2 to try to match it, but it's not really doing anything. Maybe if I reduce the brightness. Yeah, okay. It just might be the brightness setting that's doing something, but I've kept them both on 50% really, so lower the brightness a little bit. I just want to see, definitely the detail is a bit better, at least like in the closer up area. Here in the ground, seems like I can detect a little bit more. Let me just lower this brightness down on the P2 Pro. See what I mean? There's more there. Seems to just be picking up a bit more variation in values. So yeah, it's interesting because they're meant to both have the same camera, the same specifications. So see? But again, the difference is so minuscule. It's so minuscule. I'm just being nitpicky. I'm going to raise the contrast and the brightness to 50% level on both now, and we'll go have a look what's around here. Now, I found out last time that this is where all the mice go at night. This hedge, there's just hundreds of them in there, and just hide in there. So yep. Only a little bit of the body peeks out, it shows up. There's a couple here. Look, there's three of them. 4. See? Sort of capture little glimpses of it. Great. Got a bit of poop. Okay, let's have a look at this park bench. This may be better indication of the level of detail. Very similar. More birds. I heard some up the top. Yeah. And if you have a good phone, the recordings turn out better. You don't have to screen record. Just hit the normal record button and it comes out a lot smoother. But if you don't have a newer phone, it will still, you view it as you're watching it now in 25 hertz, but when you play back the recording, it's often quite jerky. So I'd recommend, just to be safe, to just screen record. I even screen record on my newer phone as well. I think the difference in contrast must be due to the focal point of the camera, and at least that's what I think it could be, because maybe it's just averaging out the temperatures more in the P2 because it's out of focus in some areas. Okay, look, this is like, again, some droppings, and probably the culprit over there. Oh, what's this? A guy sitting there on the bench. Okay, dark. Would not have noticed him. It's like completely dark here. Oh. It's a possum. I think he's playing the guitar over there. Let's go over to this road. Look, I'm convinced if you can dish out the extra cash, I'd get the P2 Pro. Just seems to have maybe a little edge, but of course you get that macro lens, which then transforms it into something you can use up close as well. And yeah, but at the end of the day, if value is the most important thing for you, really, I mean, it's just marginal difference between both of them when you're comparing them side by side like this. And can play around with the contrast and the brightness a little bit like this to really just bring out contrast better. Anyway, yeah, it's just interesting how there is a slight difference. Maybe if I pop them both into like the 100 to 600 degrees Celsius range, just want to see what they both kind of look like side by side. Yeah. Not all too different, but it's a bit more grainy, I guess, on the P2 Pro for some reason. Yeah, a little bit grainy for some reason. Pop it back to the negative 20 Celsius to 150 degrees Celsius. Yeah, I mean, they're both meant to be rated at 40 millikelvin, equal to or less than 40 millikelvin. That guy's still there on the bench. I wonder if I can get all the way to the other side of this park and then see if I can still spot him, because I can't even see him back there. Anyway, let's have a look. Yep, still there. People walking by the road all the way in the distance. I don't know how far that is, maybe 70 meters. All right. So, I mean, at this distance I can still sort of spot him there, right in the middle. It's hotter, but it's more difficult. You can see a possum or something up in the tree there, right in the center. You see, it's disappeared. That's when those millikelvin values really make a difference. I mean, what can I do? Maybe just lower the brightness a bit, but still it just does it to everything. Nothing much really. I wonder if I can mess around with the contrast a bit. Higher contrast. I mean, keep in mind that I'm in a pretty urban area too. Yeah, if you're living in a location that's hotter, you're going to have trouble. Oh, there's all these birds there, but I can't see them. Only when they're against the sky you might be able to. What is that? Oh, here we go. Because I guess against the sky they're going to look hotter in comparison. But from a distance it's like everything sort of blends together and it's very difficult to spot contrasts. And from the footage of both of these phones, it really does appear that the P2 Pro has a slight edge. Can you see the focus is a little crisper? Oh, I thought I spotted something there on the bottom of the... Be a moth or something? God, these are so much fun. You can still spot people walking around there. A couple of people just standing over in the distance too. The truth be told, you can sort of spot them normally anyhow. So I've got both of these calibrated slightly differently, so that there is a variation in readings here, but they're close enough at the moment, and you can see how that little red dot just follows around objects. It doesn't track, it doesn't track the actual object itself, but more so tracks the hottest object on the screen. So, I mean, technically, if you might be, looking in an area that's relatively cool, and you see someone walking past or an animal, it's just going to track that animal or that person. But in a situation like this, you're on the road, it's just, pretty much tracking everything there. And the blue dot going around is tracking the coolest area, and the little crosshair in the middle, wherever you place that, is it measures the temperature. So yep. And you need to set the all the parameters depending on what you're measuring, the type of object, what it's made of, whether it's anodized aluminium, copper. Sometimes, from what I've read as well, you need to put some black tape and just measure from the black tape on the black tape, because it's going to just be easier. I've lost the word for it, but I think it's emissary. Emissary value or something like that. Ooh. Otherwise, you're not going to get an accurate reading. And I've actually used ChatGPT to help me out with this one. Figuring out different materials and what values to enter in, because I think micro arc oxidation came up as about a 0.8, 0.85, and you have bare metals that come up a lot less than that, which was quite interesting, because I didn't have any idea that the color of the anodizing, or even the type of coating on a flashlight or a device that is used, well, I guess a heatsink in general, affects how fast the heat actually dissipates from that bit of electronics. So see into his eyes. Whoa! I knew someone who got bitten by one of these things, these possums, and had to get some tetanus shots. Alright, well, that's about it for this test. So I've got my Convoy S2 here, and under the head there's an Nichia 519A, and I can actually get really close to it with the P2 Pro. Just gotta balance this a little bit, but I was hoping to see a little bit of heat, a little bit more heat in the center. I've only got it on moonlight mode at the moment, but yeah, I had to actually take the lens off the front, because otherwise it's not going to be able to see through the lens. It won't last. So I'll show you what the
P2 looks like. I mean, barely can tell what's going on at all. It's just not meant to focus on stuff that close up. Okay, so the LEDs start to warm up, but I'm gonna ramp this up a bit. Let's see if I can like really get this going a bit hotter. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's really hard to hold it, just to make sure. Also zoom in. It's like a bit of this pinch zoom as well. It's hard to hold this on doing it at the same time, but here we go. You've got to find just that right sweet spot. If you've got a stand or something that can hold your phone, this will be a lot easier, like an adjustable stand. Pop on the X3 mode, and the X3 mode just cleans it up a little bit more. But, you know, as you can see, there's some weird artifacts sometimes. Kind of gives it this mosaic-like look. I much prefer it without it. Let's pop this on like real high. Trying not to blind myself. Ooh, that's probably too much. Let's pop it on that. And there's actually a setting in here that allows you to change the readings. And I'll put it on the 100 degrees Celsius to 600 degrees Celsius. Okay, so I've got the ThermalMaster P2 to the left, and on the right, the ThermalMaster P2 Pro. Okay. And just going up a little closer to some of this stuff here on the table. And yeah, interestingly, I've got both the cameras around the same level and distance away. I mean, it looks, yeah, look, I mean, they're pretty much the same field of view. I can't say one is better than the other in terms of what I see. It's pretty similar across the board. It might be the case that the Pro just looks a little clearer up close. Like, you can see the focal, it's just focusing a lot better up close on some of these bits on the table, even without the macro lens attached. Let's have a look over here. And there's my fridge. Pretty similar, really. At some points, I think one like starts to look sharper, but I think just mine just playing tricks on me. With me trying to find some differences when there's not really huge difference. I'll have to see how it actually looks like outdoors though. And this is my switchboard again, and you can see the P2 is really not able to focus down on this area, but you get a bit more clarity. So I mean, if you're doing home inspections or what have you, I think the P2 Pro might be a bit better, because you're just going to get slightly more clarity. But honestly, its differences are so marginal.
car, but so cool that you can do that. You turn on the hot water. The P2 to the left and the P2 Pro with the macro lens attached, and you know the P2 is doing quite okay from a bit of a distance like here, but as you get closer, you know, it's very difficult to see what's going on. You can see some components, you know, heating up in there, but really it's not really as clear as you can get with the P2 Pro. I mean, check that out. That's as clear as that's really as clear as you can get it, really. I had it on the X3 by accident there. Turn it off. I think it looks better without the X3 sometimes. More kind of natural. So here's, hopefully I can try to do a little side by side. It's difficult, but really night and day. I mean, if you're, you know, you can still use the P2 for about, say, 30 centimeters to detect, you know, maybe some larger components, but apart from that, it's going to be really difficult. Like if you want to nail in to some of these smaller components, just flip this over. You can see in the sides as well, you know, a little bit of detail with the P2, a little bit, maybe from back here. But with the P2 Pro, check that out. That's pretty cool. We're really close up to an LED here, and I'm just putting a bit of current through it, and you can see this is the it's actually the SFT40, so you can see the 4 bond wires in there.